Hello everybody, I'm Jana from Sydney Visa. In this video I will talk to you about skills assessment, and in particular skill assessment at an organization called VETASSES. I'm not going to give you a list of documents that is required for the submission of your assessment, because I'm sure you have seen plenty of other videos and have visited VETASSES's website, but I will give you practical and very important advice about dealing with this assessing organization. VETASSES is the largest assessing organization in Australia, at least in terms of the number of professions that it evaluates. The Immigration Department's list of skilled occupations includes about 500 occupations, and about 230 of them are assessed by VETASSES, which is almost half. This makes it the main assessing organization in Australia. And if other assessing authorities have any questions or disputes about a skill assessment, these are usually resolved by VETASSES. When you deal with other highly professional assessing organizations, the likes of ACS, Australian Computer Society, or EA, Engineers Australia, you deal with appraisers of your skills who are real professionals, and they are real professionals in certain fields. So you know that these people are essentially practically your colleagues. Therefore, it is always possible to have a meaningful and professional common sense conversation with them. VETASSES, on the other hand, because they evaluate such a vast number of professions across the virtually an entire spectrum of industries, from dancers and singers, cosmonauts, draftsmen, dog trainers, bookkeepers, you name it. So VETASSES clerk who will assess your qualification will definitely not be your professional colleague. They simply are clerk, working in an established and quite a rigid evaluation matrix that has been created by VETASSES. Sometimes this policy is in contrary to common sense, but common sense for VETASSES is not a priority. Procedure, rules, instructions and goals are the priority. Let me give you an example. The basic general approach to VETASSES of comparing your profession to a list of professions is based on three criteria. One is the level of your education, whether it's a secondary or higher education. Second is the relevance of your education, so it must be, in most cases, highly relevant. And you will need to show at least 1 year of highly relevant work experience. Options are allowed for paragraph 2, for the relevancy of your education. So if your education is not highly relevant, then in most cases this can be solved by having 3 years of work experience, of highly relevant work experience, instead of the 1 year. But if you have a problem with point 1, which is the level of education, there is actually no solution. Within the framework of these rules, an outstanding dancer who graduated from a world-renowned studio, 3 years of secondary education, who had built a successful career after graduating, so 10 to 15 years of dancing experience and as a dancer and as a dance teacher, and maybe they become a renowned performing star, so a true professional in his field, will be assessed negatively by VETASSES. This person wouldn't be recognized as a dancer or dance teacher simply because his education is not of a bachelor level. Yes, to be a teacher or a dancer in Australia, you need to have a bachelor degree. In this situation, a person who had received a higher education in chemistry or management and danced for 3 years will receive a positive qualification assessment from VETASSES. Does that contrary the common sense? Well, undoubtedly it does, but as I said above, for the VETASSES clerk, rules and instructions are primary and common sense is secondary. In this example, if an outstanding dancer had studied in a higher educational institution but haven't finished, would that have helped? The answer is no. Incomplete education is considered as no education. We have been helping our clients to get VETASSES skill assessment for over 20 years, and of course we have a lot of experience with this organization. We have a clear understanding of what VETASSES expects from each particular profession. So my advice, if you're working on your immigration path to Australia, enlist our help with your VETASSES or any other skill assessment authority. It is possible to make mistakes that would be impossible to correct in the future. You might forbid yourself an option to appeal or for appeal or a submission after a negative assessment. But if you do decide to act on your own, my advice is to take a very close look at what VETASSES says about and writes about your profession. What does Australia business community says and writes about your profession? Do not rely on ANZ score classifier purely. I mean, it's an important document to start with, but do research besides it. Your understanding of the relevance of your education and the relevance of your work experience may be completely or partially mistaken. This is particularly true in the case of seemingly simple occupations whose name seems to speak for itself, but it is precisely for this deceptive simplicity that the reasons for the huge number of rejections lie. Some of these professions, an example, are internal auditor, contract administrator, management consultant, and economist. Remember that all your submitted documents must be 100% relevant to the nominated occupation. And I mean 100, not 90, not even 95. Only 100% relevancy works with VETASSES. I will provide a link in the description to a page on VETASSES website that I believe is the main page to refer to when preparing your application. This page is called Nominate an Occupation. So when you search for your occupation, you will get VETASSES's vision of the profession, and will get an idea about the level of education and work experience you'll be required for positive assessment. VETASSES also publishes information sheets on some of the occupations, not on all, which can greatly assist in the preparation of the documents. That is it for now. If you have any questions about VETASSES application or any other visa-related questions, please ask them here in the comment section below. We'll endeavor to answer them. And please like the video and make sure you subscribe to our channel, as we post many good videos about visa and immigration to Australia. Cheers from down under. Goodbye.